to you all. How's it going? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. We are picking right up from where we left off last time. We're just walking through all of the just everything. Just the whole backlog of my videos. I've got myself a crisp beer. We're gonna go through it. Hang out, chat, have a nice Monday. Thank you, Spooky, for saying nice hat. I just got this hat, and I've been wearing it nonstop since getting it. It's a corduroy hat, and I like to wear yellow hats. Shall we get right to it? There you go. Now you can see your chat over in the corner, which is always good, always worthwhile. Tell me how the audio is sounding. I think it should be okay. In fact, let's just go ahead and listen to this to make sure that the audio
Spirit, I offer my body to you as a vessel.
Is coming through on the actual video. Tell me if that's coming through okay too, because sometimes that'll be an issue.
Sure, this guy's legit.
He brought his audio is good. That's what I like to hear. Welcome. So last time we finished right after Dance is Moving. This actually came out mid Dance is Moving being released. Originally, I think I mentioned this, where when I was making Dance is Moving, I set it so that way each of the episodes would go up. I'd finished it everything, and then I said every week a new episode would go up. While I was visiting my ex in Scotland. And so I just had that prepped to go before I finished moving to New York. But then these little videos popped up just out of nowhere, just out of me kind of being bored in my New York apartment, unemployed at this point in time. Moved up. This is September 26th. Yeah. So I must have moved up just maybe a couple days before this, maybe a couple days. But I'm not 100% sure. Oh yeah, sorry. The Mothra Innocent Super Yaki shirt, I don't believe is being sold anymore. I apologize. It's a good one. But this was a video that this was like me trying to get back on the horse of just making videos again. Cause this was me moving up to New York being like, I don't have a job. I need to start posting again. I need to start making as many videos as possible, just to make sure that I can pay rent, essentially. Although, to be honest, I was not close to being able to pay rent right now. I would be maybe making like $60 a month off of my YouTube. So it was mostly just me struggling and nothing happening. But this was a video that truly came apart. Literally, it says down here, brought to you by 9 straight hours of building IKEA furniture. We had just gotten all of our furniture for our new apartment, which was my sister Laura, Jonah, who helped make ABBA, and I. And so we made this video just literally out of a joke that Jonah and I said to each other. And then Laura came home a little later and we're like, we're making this video. Laura, do you want to be in it? And she was like, yeah, okay, sounds good. And then Jonah shaved his entire beard for it too.
Spirit, I offer
very
my
simple
body
one.
to you as a vessel.
Sure, this guy's legit.
He brought his own Ouija board. This is the real deal.
If you'd say so.
But now it's unlisted.
Wah? What's wah?
It's a Waluigi board.
We literally made this in about an hour. Truly the fastest I've ever gotten through a video, from conception to posting. And now it's unlisted because I was like, I'm tired of this. But it was a fun thing to do, and it was, I think, the start of us making stuff together, which was really fun. I think what's interesting about it is that, like, truly, again, like, so much of this was me kind of getting used to the concept of, like, making horror, trying to understand what things were scary, what things caused suspense, and also just having no lights in my apartment. You can see just how dark it is in this apartment. Just the worst. I like this compression. I don't know. this is one of the worst looking videos I've ever made. But it was a fun one to throw together. This was also a similar thing where this was like, what, 4 days after that, just making these videos as fast as possible, trying to continue to just post things, essentially try to make sure that people were aware that I still existed while moving to New York. What's funny is that I have now become this joke. I've just realized.
The final episode of our 6-part series. We've had our batter chilling for about 60 hours, which means it's the perfect time for the final and most important step in our recipe. You want to go ahead and take this incredibly specific $700 machine that's larger than you would ever feel comfortable with having in your apartment, and you want to take that batter and put it right in there for about 15 minutes. And at the end, you'll be left with perfect homemade gourmet Eggo waffles. Thank you so much for tuning into our series. Make sure to like and subscribe for more 10-minute long recipes that at the 7-minute mark you'll realize you don't have a chance in hell of recreating in your own kitchen. Goodbye!
This was a true thing, a true story of me watching videos like this, a lot of them, while also struggling with my very shitty first apartment in New York City. But now I've become this joke. I made the whole dang ice cream video, and that is an expensive large machine. Look how far I've come. Look how unrelatable I am now. It's an ancient video. Again, I'm pretty sure I pulled this off, I don't know, less than a year after I posted it. Like, a lot of them I started unlisting, I think, as soon as I started working at Polygon. And this was one of them. Because I was just tired of it. I was like, this joke isn't that good, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Yeah. That being said, I do use the ice cream maker a lot, and it is great. I still love it. Now here's a two-parter. October 15th. October 15th, and then when did this come out? October 20th. Stranger Sings. This is one of the only videos of this era that has still maintained. The same. This is the only one that is still here, that is still listed on my channel. This is just a trailer using the music from it, which I made really quickly, basically to explain what next video was coming up, right? Like I needed to do this because I knew that Stranger Things was not going to do very well. And it hasn't. It's done pretty well. I mean, like, it's done better than it has any right to. I still love it. But and I will go through it right now. I'll explain all of the fun parts about it. But this trailer was just, I made it really quickly so that way people would be prepared for what was going to show up. So that way I wouldn't get just thousands of angry messages being like, what is this? I don't understand this. I don't get this. This isn't a 20-second long video. I don't know what you're doing, Brian. Stranger Things. Let's watch the intro to it because it's one of my favorite intros just because of what Jonah and Laura are doing this entire time. I didn't know what they were doing until I finished filming, and then I was like, well, we're sticking with
Welcome
it.
to Stranger Things, a comedy musical backing track. If you know
We're
how
just
this works, you
staring
have
off
to 30
into the
seconds to
distance.
start the track, and if you don't, allow me to explain. In order to watch Stranger Things, you need to be
refuse
watching
to
the
look
first
at the
episode
camera.
of Stranger Things on mute, with this video playing in the background as your audio. Step 1, mute Stranger Things on Netflix and cue it to 0 seconds. Step 2,
It's so
play
great.
this video. Step 3, press play on Netflix when I say 3, 2, 1, click. Then, get ready to watch the only version of Stranger Things available if you live in the Upside Down.
Just try
Ready to start?
instead.
Alright, press play in 3, 2, 1, click.
What I'll say also is that this was my first apartment. This was maybe so I'll say that this chair came from my mom's place. Because she was moving at the same time I was moving to New York, and she was like, Brian, why don't you take all of this furniture I don't want? And me at that point in time being like, I have no money. Yeah, 100%. I will take all of your furniture. So this chair, actually the other couch, which is over here somewhere, just had a huge tear in it from my dog ripping it up. But we just lived on that because that's what you do. That's what you do when you first move to a new city, is you just deal with what you have, and you struggle for a bit. But this, I was gonna say that this great little board game thing came from Jonah's mom, who was also moving at the same time we were moving, but Jonah's mom's furniture was way nicer. Like, this thing was solid wood and extremely good, and I was like, this is the only nice piece of furniture in our apartment, and we're using it to put like fucking Nintendo DS video games into. Like, everything else in our apartment is basically stapled together. But yeah, we basically furnished our first apartment together just from that, which was good. I will say that, let's see. Oh, I didn't put the specific music. So what I'll say, if you haven't watched this video, again, this is a backing track, which I believe I mentioned on a previous behind the scenes was inspired by Wizard People, Dear Reader by Brad Neely, which is a different backing track that you watch with the first Harry Potter, but it's not musical. It's just a voiceover. And extremely good. It's a very funny thing. If you've got 3 hours, it's worth it to watch. It's a silly video, or a strange project. Yes, Emily, it's so good. Wizard People, Dear Reader. That was like a major bonding experience for a couple of my roommates in college, and I was like my roommate Travis being like, everyone sit down, we're watching this weird audiobook that we watched with Harry Potter, and it was so much fun. Such a great. Anyway, so we wanted to do something like this. So basically, the first month that I was there, Jonah didn't have a job, I didn't have a job. So we just were like, okay, Laura, come right when you can, when you're back from your job. But Jonah and I are going to watch the first episode of Stranger Things probably 12 to 20 times. Austin Lionheart, ragtime roast beefy. I forgot about how good this is. It's so good. Anyway, unrelated to Wizard People. So basically Jonah and I spent essentially standard 9 to 5 day, like we had a normal job, but instead we're just cranking out Stranger Things. I will mention at this time also, sorry, where is it? I was also making this video. This video got me a job. I made this in September. So this was right after I had applied for Polygon, first week that I moved to New York. First week, I cranked out that video, sent it in, got it in time, and then was unemployed. Just completely had nothing else to do. Should have been looking for other jobs, but had kind of put all my eggs in the Polygon basket. So we made this. I'll say some really fun bits about this, is that obviously it's just Laura, Jonah, and I making most of the voices, except for Natai, who I think I call out at the end.
Incredible hopscotch. He lives in the UK, so he can't be here.
Natai. He's great and is still doing really good like musical theater stuff, I believe, except for the pandemic happening. But he's wonderful, and I wouldn't be surprised if he blows up or gets on West End or whatever. He's really fantastic. Yes. No, Charlie Miller, I did not list it as this video got me a job, sadly. That would have been a real flex for sure. And then, yes, Well-Spoken Rambler, they did write a story about this, which is, I think, the wildest thing about it. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Let's see if I can search up Polygon, Stranger Things. Here we go. Yes. Julia Alexander, a good friend of mine, now, not at the time, was not my friend, did not know who she was, but she wrote just like a quick little article about it, and I'll tell you a funny story about that after I go through this and continue once we get there. But
studio late last night.
One of my favorite parts about this, let me get to the Jazzman song.
I developed it. Supposed to meet an especially
it's probably here.
Keep your eyes peeled for them because
Don't care, my especially since you
Here, okay, here it is. So I'm just gonna talk about this one. There's so many silly little jokes that we made throughout this video. The important thing to know is that we made the Demogorgon the jazz man, who is just a scatting jazz singer. But what's really funny about it, what was really fun to do.
Seems like your dreams coming true.
So this is the jazz man singing, who is me.
Come on in here, come on in here, the end of your woes, my friend. Something real fancy, something real fine.
So what we wanted to do with this voice to make it even weirder and scarier and creepier is that what we did is we sang it. We transposed the whole thing. Well, I guess what we did was we recorded it at like 1.1 speed or something like that. No, actually, no, I don't think we sped it up at all. Actually, I think it was the same speed, and then I just sang it up a third. So instead of "come on in here," I was going "come on in here, come on in da 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 da." And so I'm singing it way up and kind of like floating it, and then we lowered it down, which just gives it that kind of like somewhat drunk, but like just weird vibe.
You'll never find a voice that's better than mine.
But it was a really fun thing to sing.
I've been riffing since the beginning of time. And if you sign me, baby, it'll be so sublime. I'm special, I'm fresh, you'll agree that it's true.
There you go.
And don't be blue, baby.
This was one of my favorite
'cause
songs
you
of it.
Oh,
This one was my favorite song, though. Although the end song was also a very... Anyway, a lot of silly songs. What's really interesting about this is listening to the production value, because like Jonah did throw all these songs together, which is what, 50 straight minutes of audio content in a couple weeks. But like Jonah's production quality from this project to ABBA is like light years. And I say this in the, like, when I was doing Stranger Things, I was like, man, Jonah is unbelievably good at this. And then every single time that I record another thing with Jonah, I'm always like, holy shit, you have gotten so good. You are so good at this now. He really, anything I throw at Jonah, he just knocks it out of the park. And it was a really, what I'll say also about this was that like this was the last huge silly project that I could do with my roommates before the job at Polygon. And so this will always have a really important, it holds a very special place in my heart. It could definitely be better. It could definitely be more polished, but I still love it. It was so much fun. So that's Stranger Things. Aha, yes. It was November 8th a couple weeks ago. This is another one that I haven't unlisted because it continues to do well every November 8th. It's really funny. When you look at like the analytics of this, it's like 10 views per day, and then November 6th starts going up, and then it's November 8th, and it's being viewed 40,000 times a day, and then it goes back down again. It's very funny, but this was also based on a real life
Guys,
thing.
it's November 8th. Why are we listening to Christmas music?
What?
What?
Did you come out here for something?
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say.
So this was based on a true
Can I have
story,
something?
which was that I think I was editing or something, and then, but we were all feeling kind of low. It was just getting cold, and we were like, let's just put on some Christmas music. Who cares that it's November 8th? Let's do it. And then as soon as we did it, I was like, in fact, the real reason for this is that Jonah and I had gone out to buy Halloween costumes, and we were just like going to like a nearby dollar store sort of thing. And when we were going to get our Halloween costumes on like October 26th, they had Christmas stuff up, and I was like, why don't we just go ahead and pick up a couple of Christmas things? Just so that way we aren't making 2 trips. You know what I'm saying? And so we bought all of this stuff again, prior to Halloween. And then we had it around, and then we were like, well, why don't we just put it up? It's November 8th. Who cares? Let's put it up. Let's make it Christmassy. Zuko, yes, correct. Zuko is in this one, and I was going to say what's very important about this is that Zuko became a much better actor after this. After this video, Zuko started to he shaped up. He really started committing to the craft. It was so difficult. Like, I managed to film these while he was, like, still in the frame, but then this one, trying to get him to hold on to it, it took us maybe 20 minutes to get him to stand still enough.
Forgot what I was gonna say.
For that shot. That was it took us so long. He's doing well. He's still not quite used to the other cats that he lives with now, but he's definitely a better cat now. And again, a big thing was that what Jonah and I would do is that Laura used to live with 2 roommates who didn't really like cats, and so they didn't really pay attention to Zuko. But then Jonah and I moved in, and every day we would come home and we'd pick up Zuko and we'd put him right next to our face, and then he would hold on to him until he started getting very annoyed at us, and then we would put him down. And then we slowly broke him in to getting close to our face. We would just hold him close to our face, and then eventually he just became complacent with it. I don't think he likes getting cuddled still to this day, but he learned. Yes, well-spoken rambler. Yeah, no, definitely that's definitely what we trained Zuko to do. It was not love, but we trained him to do that. Here was a thing that I filmed while I was still in the UK. And then I unlisted it again, just mostly because it's my friend is in it, and I just didn't want him to be doxxed. There's like a weird thing I'll say now that, like, had siblings not gotten as big as it has gotten, like, I probably would have unlisted it after, like, the stuff on Polygon got big. But now it's like there's enough people who have downloaded that video that it will never not exist on the internet, so I might as well keep it up. But this was a similar situation, is that I made this video.
My garden has been blooming like crazy.
Again, on a very silly video with Patty.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, feel free, make yourself at home. This is gonna be your bed. So get yourself comfy.
What's really funny about this is that, again, this was done in like a weird little Lake District house, little cabin, and my friend Patty lives in the Lake District, and he stopped by. But this tiny little lampshade, I just don't know why. It's so funny on its own.
Crazy, but
to have
yeah, I know. Anyway,
a video, like,
feel free,
there was part of me that was
make
like, I
yourself
want
at
to
home.
film
This-
it in this place just so I can get what looks to be like a Dixie cup put on top of a light. It's okay. Did I reconnect? Did I manage to reconnect? Sorry about that. My whole computer just went black, which is extremely strange. All right, let's see if I can get the chat back up and running here. No, that's the back end. There we go. Hello. Tiny Lamp cursed us and broke us down, but it seems like everything's back up and running. Can you still hear everything?
Do you need any extra blankets? It's a bit cold.
Yeah, honestly, no, I'll be okay.
I think? Okay. That's so weird. I have no idea what just happened. But literally just the entirety of my computer just crashed for a second. So
Do you
anyway,
need, like, hot water, milk,
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah.
wine?
all this quality. That's why it's currently.
No.
Whiskey.
Honestly, I'll be okay.
Yerba mate.
Yeah, honestly.
Did you forget?
This was a video that literally just went back and forth. It was just fun. We basically set up a camera, and then had him respond to me saying things on the other time. Anyway, this is a fun video, but again, this was one of the unlistings that happened when I was like, I can't have my friends get doxxed. They did not ask for this, and these silly videos that we were making together, which were originally just for an audience of like a couple thousand, no longer worked. So anyway, this is the last video that happened before I could announce that I started working for Polygon. So this happened at November 21st. This was literally quite a thing where Laura and Jonah and I wanted to start this podcast before I started working at Polygon, just so that way it forced us to keep doing something together. And then it also made it clear that I made it before going to Polygon, so that way they wouldn't get angry at me. Because companies like to own IP. It's nothing against Polygon. Every company wants to do it. So I made sure that this started beforehand. It's just a clip from
about Mr. Dad is that
Let's Make a
like
Music, the
mall Santa
podcast.
Clauses-
The first time that we made our Let's Make a Music. Now we have a different version of it. But this was a fun.
he can be useful for an underserved population in America that can have employment in the month of November.
And
right?
you know what it should be? It should be marketed towards those people who are not capable of being Santa in December. So we're looking at rail thin
Yes.
men with
Can't
dark
wear beards.
features.
Yeah.
Very sunken.
Clean shaven,
Cl-
gaunt.
Clean shaven and could be ill.
We
But
want
in
their
a-
skin paper thin.
but still sexy.
Still
Yeah.
sexy.
So we made this video just again as a point to, number one, prove that this existed. Speaking of new Let's Make a Music, Marley. Here's the thing: is that not only am I moving right now, but my sister's moving right now, and Jonah is also going through a major life and employment change. So all of us are in. As soon as Karen and I got ready to be able to record, everything else broke down. Also, it's the holidays, so possibly new Let's Make a Music will start in the new year, probably. So anyway, this was also just an example of me trying to do not like a real what's the term for it, kinetic type,
Skin paper thin.
But still sexy.
Still
Yeah.
sexy.
If I drop about 40 pounds by next week, I can
I
be
can
the
see it
first
happening.
Mr.
I'm
Dad.
getting this picture in my
All
head.
right.
And
Yeah.
it's working.
and then
Is
just
Mr.
bad
Dad, you
Photoshop.
have to commit to the body hat? Is it body hat and also bald?
I forgot how we got to this point. There was definitely some things that skipped around, but it was a fun little example to try to get something out in time, because the next week I was going to start working at Polygon, and this was when it started. In fact, I started a couple days before this. I started like December 4th or something, but I wasn't allowed to announce it until they locked in Jenna, because Jenna and I were hired at the same time. And Jenna had to move to New York. I was already in New York. So this was the video. If you haven't seen it, this is what the video was. This was my application for Polygon. We don't have to watch all of it. It had to be less than 2 minutes, I think, was the big thing.
Hello. My name is Brian David Gilbert, and I'm applying to become...
I will say that when I started this out, I was like, this is extremely funny to me, but it is extremely dangerous to start with this. Because
Hello.
okay, what I learned is after I got hired at Polygon that like 1,000 people sent in video cover letters. And let's just assume that they all hit the 2-minute mark. I could have done that math in my head. That's like more than a full day of looking through footage. And so if I were to be in the seat of watching a bunch of things for a video producer position, and this was the beginning of the video, I would stop it and then immediately move on to the next one. So I really am extremely fortunate that they continue to watch.
Hello. My name is Brian David Gilbert, and I'm applying to become a Polygon.com video producer. I think I'd be an asset to the team, don't you, sir? I like making videos.
This was as you can see in our room, Jonah was around. I was like, Jonah, can you please just sit there and hold up this book? I can't think of a funny visual gag for me saying I'm an asset to the team. Can you just hold up this Tales of the North folktale book and then have a picture of me in it?
You, sir, I like making
And he
videos. I
agreed.
like to think, and I like to fight baddies with my best pal Link. Baddies with my best pal.
Definitely not allowed to be using this picture. Most of these photos that I used, this was before I cared about copyright, and like people breathing down my neck about unlicensed images. I had to learn that while I was working again for a company that has a legal team. This is just a licensed Breath of the Wild costume for children. It was the best one I could find on the internet.
Link. I used to live in Baltimore, but now I'm in New York because I wasn't much in Baltimore for odd video work, so I moved myself to Brooklyn with a.
Another big thing. This was my station in New York. I feel comfortable saying this now. Shouldn't have filmed in front of my own personal subway station, but I did not learn. I was a young babe in the woods. Didn't understand that doxing was a thing and that people could find me. Literally, right here, that's my apartment building. I lived just outside. I would walk right out of that subway and into my apartment building. Really, extremely, very stupid of me. Extremely, very stupid of me. I've stopped making this mistake since. But extremely bad. Great. Yes, very, very convenient, Well-Spoken Rambler. Extremely convenient. And on the days when it was like pouring outside, oh, mwah, nothing better than being able to walk right out and go into my apartment. But extremely, extremely dumb. Oh my God. Don't ever do that. What is wrong with me?
Bag in a suit, and I got a countdown timer till.
I guess to my credit, I assumed this was just going to Polygon. And then they were like, you can post this on your own personal channel. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. Still.
Move myself to Brooklyn with a bag and a suit, and I got a countdown timer till I'm destitute. When my twin and I make videos, here's the
I did cut my hair right after this. In a classic me scenario, using cutting my own hair for content, I filmed this one, and then I had Jonah cut my hair, and then I filmed this one immediately after.
basic gist. I would edit in Premiere, and he would not exist. Bet you didn't see that coming. I'm a movie magic pro, so expect the unexpected, and welcome to the show. I'm efficient in Adobe Suite, but improv's where I shine, and I've got a modest following.
22,000 subscribers at this point in time. Which is pretty wild. Because now I'm at 861, which is still bonkers to me. Yeah, very, very fortunate about that. But I think that's really important to remember at this point in time is that, like, my biggest video at this point in time
for videos online. I've gone
was this one, which had almost 5 million views, but it was far and away. Nothing ever got even close to that. Like, I had maybe one video that had 1 million. And then everything else was sub 100,000, essentially. So this was as much as I could possibly do to be like, look, I know how to. I have some people like me. Also, what's funny about this here? Let's just take a little look really quickly. 80K to 14K. Oh, they just took off dislikes. I'd have to go into my own personal thing. Whatever. All you need to know is that when this video first came out, it was sitting at like a ratio of like 60% likes to dislikes, because everyone thought it wasn't a joke. Ridiculous. But anyway, what's funny is that gap has closed in the years since then. The people who've come back to it have realized that it's a joke.
few times, but they're not good. And I also went to Hopkins, but that's neither here nor there because
I love to use this as a prop because that's all it's worth for me anymore. There's literally no other reason I would ever show my diploma except for as a prop.
studied writing seminars on cognitive science.
What's funny is that this is the same suit that I had in my first Unraveled. Yeah, same suit. Same suit that I'm wearing in my first Unraveled. It's too small for me now. It was too small for me when I bought it.
And I don't think I guess I could use the writing.
Yes, thank you, Shrek Apologist.
I'm saying I went.
The disliking the video. I wanted to make sure that I showed me disliking my own video in it. Yeah, terrible audio. Didn't have any microphones at this point in time, Henry. Just so bad.
My love of gaming seems to not be in what I create, but I grew up.
I also had to put this in because I was like, I haven't made a single gaming video. How do these people know that I like video games?
On everything Nintendo. It was great. I love Samus, I love Fox McCloud, and I love Waluigi, Toad and Tingle, Olimar, and also Waluigi again. The fact is, I love Polygon, and all this.
This was like the best thing I could manage in terms of like roto brushing out myself and filming. This camera was pretty bad quality. Now that I'm looking at it, this camera kind of sucked. But it was good enough for when I started. I just didn't know how to light anything.
Strange and magic videos you put on. You push the envelope with things unique and new, and that's why weird creators gravitate to you. But the videos you make seem like they might not amount to much. Your videos have helped me.
Such bad graphics work here. I gotta be honest with you. Don't know how I got hired. I've said this a lot when I was working at Polygon, but like if I were to apply for Polygon right now, I would not get the job. The only reason I was able to get this job was the time that I applied for it. There is no way in hell that even now, even as my videos have gotten better and my editing has gotten better, I do not think I would get a job because I just don't know enough. But I was just confident enough at this point in time to give it a try. And they obviously, the other thing about it is that like the application process was still very reliant on, because I think it was written by Justin McElroy. And so it was very heavy on like the improv stuff, which is silly now that I think about it, because that's not the kind of videos that happen anymore. But again, was very, very fortunate.
Give me such a chance. I promise I will follow through and help create something good. A series like these, things that help an anxious guy like me feel at ease. You've built a great community. I'd love to do the same, and together we can make much more than a video about a game.
At the end of this video, this stuff was in my application as well. Instead of saying, so now I work for Polygon, it was like, thank you so much for watching. Please reach out to me at my email, yada yada, blah blah blah. Here's my phone number. This was filmed in front of just the worst green screen setup I could ever possibly have. What's also great is that I was wearing a green tie. That's the same tie as this tie. Who could have thought? Who could have thought that this would be a problem on a green screen? Hey, Brian! Hey, did you think? Hey, did you think about wearing not a green tie? Just an absolute dunce. Then I started working at Polygon. And in fact, this was my first ever video that I edited for Polygon.
Resident Evil 7 is a game about Resident Evil games.
This was Allegra.
It's a game about reinvention.
Again, friend of mine, still. Great person.
Within a franchise that is...
A thing about Polygon is that when I was joining, they didn't really have a sense of what the style was, especially on the video side. It was very much like, just make as much stuff as possible. And so when I first started, instead of being front-facing, they were like, well, let's cut your teeth a little bit. Let's have you edit other people's videos about Game of the Year. Because again, I started December. It was Game of the Year season. So this was my first ever
Innovated
video
and
that I edited.
then gone stale. And then
I would say I'd prove it, but this was actually before we had credits.
it mirrors the
Credits were only a thing.
Game
No,
over
don't go
or death
here
screen?
right now. I do love
Resident
that
Evil
video,
7.
but you'll notice that we didn't have credits
it mirrors the franchise.
until union negotiations. The only thing that made us put credits at the end of our videos were a very strong union saying, hey, we need to know who was working on this video so that way people can know about it. It wasn't just a union thing. If I remember correctly, Vox had started doing a lot before, but I think that's partially because they had used like a lot of freelancers and things, and so Vox needed to like really just put it out there to be professional. But for places like Polygon and places like Eater, also I think Eater might not have done it, or maybe Verge. Either way, there was a time when we didn't have very clear credits on any of our videos, and this was one of those times. So I'm pretty sure I remember editing this video,
Overcome what appears to be the
but it's hard for me to remember. So I'm fairly certain this one was mine. I don't know. Well spoken Rambler. A big thing about that is partially because of when we add this, I think it's just a matter of labor. I think, to be perfectly honest, is that like Vox has producers, but then they also have pure video editors, and then they also have pure motion graphics editors, and they also have pure script writers. Polygon has video producer, and that's it. And so when we were in charge of cranking out, at this point in time, we were cranking out videos every week, right? And so it was just an unbelievable amount of work to have all of that stuff also in there. Whereas like if I were to be just like the script supervisor and then someone else were to be the editor, then the editor could be like, yeah, here are the 5 songs that I used. But yeah, that was a big thing, was that like with turnaround and everything, it was just really hard to make sure that you had all of that stuff. Anyway, so that was my first video ever at Polygon. Edited that. In fact, actually, I think my first video at Polygon was a Facebook video about Mega Man. I don't have a Facebook anymore, so I don't know how to show that to you. Also, you don't have to see it because it was literally just like Mega Man's turning 30 or something. Literally, I will say there was an application for Polygon for a Facebook video person like 6 months before. I remember it because it was same year. I remember I was looking to apply for that video, or for that job, for like literally just Facebook video producer, and I didn't get it, thank God, because every single one of those people got laid off. Like literally everyone who was working on any Facebook video style things got laid off because Facebook was like, if you come do things on our platform, you're gonna get ad revenue. And then they did it for like a year, and then Facebook was like, actually there's no ad revenue. And then everyone got laid off. Literally the February that I started working at Polygon, so many people I knew got laid off. Not even like just in the studio side of things. It was brutal, and that's why monopolies in the tech sector suck for everyone involved. Yeah, Facebook sucks for a myriad reasons, but that's just one of them. That's just one of the reasons why. This was my first ever stream on Polygon, and I remember being so nervous about it. Because number one, I had never played PUBG before. They were like, hey, Brian, can you be on Awful Squad? And I was like, I've never played PUBG because I don't have a computer to play a game on. I have a Switch, and that's it. I literally can't play PUBG. And they're like, you'll pick it up. You'll be fine. I did not pick it up. I don't know.
Crouch. Run like a big boy with your long legs.
Look at this crazy little wolf man.
But anyway,
not a chance.
Damn.
I remember
What a
showing up
bad
for this.
Stream though.
If you,
like,
if you
Yeah, they called me New Brian in this. Well, they had to call me New Brian because there used to be a Brian on Polygon. That's why I didn't have the Brian at polygon.com email, is because there was a Brian before me who quit, I think, or left. I don't know. Yeah. So they all called me New Brian for a bit. I have never been the first Brian at any of my jobs. Ever. I've never been the first Brian anywhere. I've literally, my first job at a climbing gym, I was one of 4 Brians. The other Brians were named Soul. Well, the other Brian was just Brian because he was a manager, so we all had to call him Brian. And then Nairb, who just said Brian backwards because there were already too many Brians. And then I came around and they're like, I guess you can also be Brian. Yeah, Brian Soul is a great name. It was spelled differently, but it was also so cool that he was like, yeah, you can just call me Soul. And he was also super chill and unbelievably handsome. Looked like somewhere between Tobey Maguire and Jake Gyllenhaal. Very handsome man. Very, very cool guy. Anyway, first stream,
in the middle of a field,
very
will they
nervous.
ever find?
This was also my first time really interacting with any of these people, because I had interacted with Pat, obviously, because he was in the office with me. Russ hadn't come into the office. Griffin and Justin both worked remote. Travis doesn't work for Polygon. And so I was just kind of like thrown into this weird thing where I was like, I've never streamed before in my life, and now I have to pretend to be funny and cool.
Yeah,
and I suck.
If I do really terribly.
Do we have is the question.
But anyway, don't go back and watch this video. I was terrible in it, both in a video game sense and in a being a normal human being sense, because I was just so nervous. So that was a lot of things. This video, you'll notice also, this is not all of the videos that I did when I first started working at Polygon. Here, I'm actually going to pull this up really quickly. I want you to just take a notice of this. So this one, all these videos came out in the past year. Okay, so right here is where the breaking point is. So this many videos. That's a lot of videos for a year, honestly. Sure. And then the next year goes down to here. Also a lot of videos, but whatever. The next year, again, comes down to about here-ish. And then this was the year that I started working at Polygon. And it's just so many videos. So many videos. We still haven't hit the 4 years ago mark. We still haven't hit it. We still haven't hit it. Where's the 4 years ago mark? Where is it? Where's the 4 years ago? There it is. We finally hit the 4 years ago mark. I'll bring this up to show you. Where's the video that I started with? There you go. So that was when I first started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 videos in 16 days? Is that right? 20 videos, 16 days. This was prior to us understanding that the more videos you produce, sure, you get upticks. People watch them every day, whatever. But it also eats your own pie. The more videos you post, the less your other videos show up for people. So it just buries your own stuff. But that was how it was. It was just like everyone must be producing a video a week or showing up in a live stream. And so we would have live streams and we'd have videos every single day. So this was my first silly video that I made for Polygon. This was actually, I was asked specifically by Chris Plant, who is the editor at large at that time, now is the editor-in-chief, to make this video, which was very silly.
2017 was terrible, but
Isn't it so funny? Isn't it so funny to look back at us when we were like 2016 was the worst year, 2017 was the worst year, and then every year since then it's also been the worst year. Every year since then, huh? Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? How funny. But this was literally just like, I threw this together myself. I recorded this all in my apartment. This was also prior to me understanding my worth as a creator and doing work outside of work hours, because I was so stressed. I was like, oh, I need to be good. Oh, I need to be good for everyone. This is the first job that I care about. I can't fuck it up. So I worked really hard to make sure that this would happen.
gift of all is our community. So in 20
So I filmed this all so fast, and threw it together ASAP, and it worked out okay. It was fine. It did pretty okay at that point in time, but I will say that none of my videos broke 100,000 for a very long time. In fact, I will show you. I'll get to that point as we go through it. So I worked there for just a month, and then I posted this video to my own personal channel.
Don't read the comments 2018.
Don't read them.
Don't read the comments.
And also my Twitter.
Don't read those things.
Don't read the comments 2018.
It's bad for your mental health.
Don't read the comments 2018.
But you keep doing it anyway, you dumb idiot.
So this was partial. I mean, it's still good advice. It's still very good advice. Don't read the comments. Definitely helpful. There have been many times that I've just like woken up and gotten so angry by like going into some stupid Twitter thread, and I'm like, who are these people anyway? I don't need to care about why they're angry about things. And so I posted this video, but it was also a lot about it was about Polygon, because this was my first time being in games media, and games media is the most toxic space in the whole world. It's really not a fun place. It's not a fun place to work. Video games in general are not a great, weirdly, more so than film, more so than comics, more so than really anything else. It's just a rough place. So I posted this video, and then I unlisted it maybe like a month after, because I was like, I'm tired of this. I don't even want people to not know that I'm not reading their comments, you know? That was the last video of 2017. And now we're here. Oh, wait, no, there's this video. I forgot about
what can
video
I get
game
for you?
theater.
Do you know of a place where sailors hang out?
Sailors? I see them at night. We close at 8, but I
Forgot
often
about this.
see them from just before that.
I see.
All of the sailors are big, you know.
I forgot about this whole video. This was a fun thing. This was my first time getting to film in the green screen room, which was so much fun. Getting to film in the green screen room is a blast, because it's just a big green screen all around.
Okay, perfect.
It was just a fun time. This was like the moment when I was like, I do enjoy this. It's fun to like hang out and make silly videos, even though everyone else around us hates us. No, that's not true. Not everyone else at Vox Media hated us, but it was like, there would be times when we would goof off a little too much, and people would be like, be quiet. And we'd be like, okay, whatever, we'll do it now. That's just how it is in a media world. This was my first ever series that I made at Polygon.
Is reading the news too hard to do? Well, guess what, Dingus? Here's our weekend review. It's 2018, finally! It's time to start fresh entirely. But if you've been asleep and not looking at a screen, we've got the biggest stories of 2017. But guess what?
So this was a thing that I wanted to try to do. I watched a lot of Polygon before joining. I like, obviously I think the big thing was, like most people, Monster Factory was my gateway. And then I watched like a chunk of everything else. So of course I was like interested in it, but it is definitely like that weird feeling of like, I will say that like one of the best ways to get over like, I wouldn't say I ever got to like a parasocial sort of relationship with any of the people, because I like wouldn't interact with them. I wouldn't comment. I wouldn't do anything like that. But like the best way, they say don't meet your heroes, but you should work with them because it turns them into humans again, where it's just like, yeah, they're also just trying to get by. That's all there is to it, right? Every job is tough in different ways. And so, yeah, I'd say that like it was a big thing for me was like in joining Polygon, I was afraid that I'd be like, oh, weird, like I'm gonna go hang out with these Polygon people. Oh, I forgot, this was the story I was gonna say. Literally after okay, let me pull this up really quickly so I can remember. Polygon Stranger Things, that's the one. Show me when this happened. Okay, October 23rd. Video came out October 22nd. Julia wrote a story about it October 23rd. The next day, literally, I think the next day, I got an email from Chelsea, who still works at Polygon, really wonderful person, saying, hey, are you interested in, well, not are you interested, we would like to have you come in for an interview. So this was a month and a half after I had sent in my application. I was 100% certain that I didn't get the job by that point in time. By the time Stranger Things came out, I was like, it's been a month and a half. They would have responded to me. There's no way I got the Polygon job. But then, sure enough, that happened. Also, at the exact same time, Julia reached out to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in us? I would like to interview you as like a young up and coming video YouTuber. Is that something you're interested in? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then immediately after, that's when Chelsea sent me the thing being like, we'd like to interview you for the job. And so then I had to respond to both of them and be like, hey, kind of weird, Julia. I might be coming into your office on Monday because I'm interviewing for a video job at your company. And she was like, oh, okay, that's weird. And so what happened is that I went in, I had my job interview, and then I went and I hung out in the like little cafeteria space that they have, and I had like a seltzer, and like very sweetly Simone and Chelsea hung out with me while I was waiting for Julia to get done with a different meeting so she could come interview me for a different article. And I was like, yeah, nice to meet you both. Like, cool. Wow, you guys get to look over the Hudson River, and there you can see the helicopters from here. Real, like, just, you know, standard shooting the shit style stuff, but just being like, this is very weird, and now I'm gonna go talk to Julia about a different thing. I was like, at the very least, even if I don't get this job, at least I'll get an interview out of it from Polygon, so that's good. It was a very weird moment. But then sure enough, like, again, maybe a week or two later, I finally got the call from Chelsea being like, we'll offer you the job. And I was like, amazing, great. And then Julia was like, sorry, we couldn't post the video. And I was like, no, I'd much rather have a job. I would much rather have a job here than get an article written about me. So anyway, sorry, I jumped all around there. I know it's already 7:32. Oh my God, it's already been an hour, hasn't it? Let's run through this really quickly.
Here's a twist. In 2018, games still exist. And here's the 50 we look forward to. Like,
this I made because I was like, let's try to link more of the articles that we're writing in with the videos that we're creating. And so I made this little series, which burnt out very quickly. But I would write it Thursday night, and then I'd come in early on Friday morning, and then I would film it Friday, and then I would edit it together and throw it up right after. So this would go up like at noon on a Friday. But it was a real weird cycle, and it never really caught on, sadly. Maybe it would catch on now, potentially. There is a part of me that's like, what if I go back to this? What if I make a little video game week in review style video series, just as like if you don't feel like keeping up with the terrible media cycle of video games, why don't you do this? But again, didn't ever pick up, so sadly that was a shame. This was another video that we threw together super fast. This was my first time really working with Pat, but I like asked all of my coworkers to bring me as much cardboard as possible after Nintendo Labo was announced.
How do you do, fellow gamers?
And we made this.
End up being upside down in the final orient.
Overalls. What we want. And we'll see the best new Toy Cons you will ever use. Go ahead and don Cappy, Chelsea. You are now
There's
Mario.
Chelsea.
Using our Toy Cons.
I am Mario.
You've got a good grip.
This is a very fun and silly video that
Try throwing Cappy.
was kind of the start of it. This was like me pushing the point of being like, hey, can I make a video that's us goofing around with cardboard for a couple hours, and then we film all of our coworkers trying to use it, and they were like, yeah, sure, go for it. And
you know what? That's okay. This is a prototype. Oh, you're a natural.
This is so
An interesting sort of.
I forgot, where's the bit of me trying it? I forgot
Would
about.
you say it enhances it a whole lot, or would you say it enhances it to the most extent?
To the most extent.
I think this is the best method of.
I forgot.
It's enhanced character in a way I've never felt before.
All right, so Clayton, what we've done here.
Yeah, I forgot about this whole thing.
When
Yeah,
you
there
have
we
to
go.
shake both of the Joy-Cons, it kind of is an issue.
You know, ideally.
This was a silly video. This was a silly video that I really enjoyed making. I loved making this one. This was my first time doing a thing with Justin.
I guess that means there's a puzzle.
Where we were trying to go through full motion videos, games. What's weird about this is that, so what would happen is that we'd film this for like an hour, and then I would go back. The method of this was well, it was just a nuisance. Basically, I would stream the game to Justin, who would watch it, and then he'd talk to me through Discord and record his audio, and then we'd talk about it as I was playing the game, and then I would take all the footage and then I'd go edit it into something that was somewhat more palatable. But it was oftentimes there was a lot of dead air, you know? Like, you don't see this, but like when there's an hour-long video of recording, and then we're stuck with frickin'
nice
23
slow-
minutes, like cutting it down by 2/3 is a slog. Oh my god, it just takes forever. I hate it. But I did it.
Yeah, they really want you to enjoy. Looks like.
Anyway, that was my first time doing that. And then this was a thing where Simone and I started making a video together.
I'm gonna leave.
What you'll notice about this is that this was back when Polygon was trying to make series off of pilots, essentially. We would make a video with the intention of turning it into a series, because we would try very desperately to kind of just make another Monster Factory. Was really what was happening. This was also post like the Nick Robinson era, when he got outed because he was a real creepo, and like that was all they really knew how to do, was how to make silly videos about video games, but with a shit ton more overhead. Like unlike every silly YouTube video maker about video games where it's just one person doing it themselves, there's a whole company around Polygon, and so it's really hard to make those videos happen. It's really hard to force series, and it's really hard to do this when you're also paying for office space and all that stuff. And it's also like the weird sort of like, the fact is, yeah, all of the people making this were struggling millennials, right? But we had salaried positions, right? As opposed to like people who are just trying to do it on their own and work off ad revenue. Yeah, agreed. Well-spoken, Rambler. Truly wish that there would be no more mention of him ever again. I say that after mentioning him on my stream. Don't ever look him up. But the this video was really fun to make.
Whoa.
Specifically because of the outer video parts. Did I have that in this one? No, this is when we started putting the outside video in. here's the thing, is that I loved making these videos so much. They were so much fun. And then they just never really
quickly and
hooked on. And that's just like how it is with the internet, is that you can never tell when something is going to work and when something's going to crash and burn. There's really no way of deciding. You can never tell. But it was really fun to make these videos, and I really had a blast doing it. This was maybe my shining achievement, though, when we first started working at Polygon. This was February. This was, I would say, maybe a week before the big layoffs happened. So I was still in that honeymoon phase when I was like, oh, working for corporate America is great. Look what they allow me to do. They allow me to post a 12-hour-long stream about Waluigi studying. I drew this so poorly. I literally threw this together last minute, right? I just wanted it to look similar enough to the standard studying with Waluigi. I did this, and then I also found all of the tracks, which were, again, through our licensing music catalog. So I found all those, and I put all these things in, and then I just basically threw this together quickly, and then we had one of our friends, Dave, who worked on the studio side, basically set it up so that way it would continue streaming endlessly. It ended up breaking after 12 hours, sadly, but it was a heck of a ride for that first 12 hours. It was so much fun. And then Dave got laid off a week after. Dave was truly the only person who knew how to do anything with like tech related, studio related, like any question that we had, we would go to him. And then he got laid off a week after, which was like truly the most like disillusioning thing for me. Because I was like, man, look at all the great things we did together, right? We made lo-fi chill beats with Waluigi. Don't worry though, he's doing like a way more lucrative job now. He's fine. He really bounced back, but still, it was like, man, this sucks so hard. He was doing such good work, and like they just basically were trying to cut down on people and like doing it whole cloth, being like, let's just cut this entire section, without being like, hey, without this person, things aren't gonna run well for the rest of our work. It sucked. This was a beautiful little moment. It was great. It's a fun time. This was in February. And I think we're going to stop there, because I think the next video I was going to say, oh yeah, it'd be the first Gil and Gilbert. How about that? I can come back. This will be an easy thing for me to remember for when we start back up, if and when we do a behind the scenes part 4. I always think that I'm gonna get through way too much, or I always think I'm gonna get through so much, and then I always talk for way too long about things. But this was really fun hanging out with y'all today. Thank you so much for chilling. It was a blast. Next month we're going to be doing our thirdly report. So we're going to get to that. I am working on the rest of the videos that I've already mentioned working on. Not going to be out in the next week, sadly. I was really hoping that I could squeeze something in before the end of Thanksgiving, but just working so hard to get ABBA out last month has really, and then moving, and then getting ready for Thanksgiving, and all this stuff has just like totally thrown me out. But hopefully soon. Hopefully new videos soon. If nothing else, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. I think I'm gonna, just for me, just for the Patreon folks, I'm gonna post a video about my top 5 games of the year. just because I like to talk about games sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And there've been some really good games that came out. So I'll probably give y'all a little. I'll let y'all have that as just like a little extra bonus thing in December. I will see you all soon. If you are celebrating Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your week. Even if you aren't having Thanksgiving, enjoy your week. This has been really fun. I will see you all soon. Enjoy your... It's Monday. Oh my god, it's still Monday? Wow. Enjoy your Monday. Goodbye. Goodbye!